This is absolutely massive for the Duke Blue Devils, as we've been named the favorite to land a 5-star recruit out of high school. We got predictions from credible reports. We got the time and date he'll be announcing his commitment. The only thing we really don't have is a clear picture of the guy, but we still got to break it all down. What's up, guys? I'm Matt Long. Welcome to Duke Basketball 365. If you're a Duke Blue Devil fan, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out a ton. But let's jump right into the news for today. Deron Rippy Jr. will be soon announcing his commitment decision, and we got some stuff to talk about coming from Sports Illustrated. With less than 2 weeks before Rippy makes his decision, Duke, Miami, NC State, Texas, and Tennessee remain in the running to land him. However, Jamie Shaw, Rivals senior national basketball recruiting analyst, recently predicted that the Blue Devils will come out on top of the 5-star point guard's recruitment. In a recent article, Shaw explained that his sources have consistently identified Duke as one of the frontrunners in Rippy's recruitment. He also mentioned that while NC State is the school giving the Blue Devils the most competition, his sources still believe that Scheyer and company will ultimately secure a commitment from the 5-star recruit. And hearing some comments from Shaw himself, he said, speaking with sources around the recruitment, Duke was always a school mentioned. As the process continued, I was told of mutual intrigue on both sides. In my conversations, as we got further into the fall, the talk around Duke and NC State continued to build, with most of my sources talking about this as a two-team race. Both teams had individual momentum late in the process. However, over the last week or so, things with Duke have seemed to amplify. And as of pressing published on this article, my sources like Jon Scheyer's chances of landing the explosive point guard. That is from Shaw from the website Rivals, which is an extremely credible website when it comes to scouting these recruits, when it comes to recruiting overall in general. And they believe that Duke will be where Deron Rippy Jr. will be playing his college basketball. Now, talking about what kind of prospect Deron Rippy Jr. is, he's a point guard standing 6'2", 175 pounds, out of Blair Academy in New Jersey, class of 2026. Now, you may be asking, point guard only 6'2". That doesn't really fit what Jon Scheyer has been doing recently. If we look at last year, the point guards, we had the 6'5" Sion James, we had the 6'4" Tyrese Proctor. This year and last year, we have the 6'5" Caleb Foster. Now, it feels like, or it doesn't feel like, Jon Scheyer has prioritized height, and he wants very tall players. Last year, Duke was rolling out the tallest starting lineup in the entire country, and I believe they also have the starting entire roster in the entire country. So you may be asking yourself, does a 6'2" guard fit that mold? And no, he objectively doesn't. But the thing that Deron Rippy Jr. brings to the table is he's a defensive menace. So think about, he's not even that short as far as those, like, smaller hounding, like Alex Caruso type, Jose Alvarado type, if we're looking at NBA comparisons. He's tall for that type of player, but he's a hounding defender, and that's the number one thing that Deron Rippy Jr. brings to the table. And also, while he may not have the height of the previous point guards for the Duke Blue Devils, when you are a 5-star and when you are this talented, it just makes sense to bring the talent into the program. At some point, the talent outweighs the height, and while you would prefer the taller guys, and Jon Scheyer is clearly keeping an eye out for the taller prospects first, you can't turn down a 5-star prospect when they are interested in your school. Further, looking at what else, he's bringing to the table. Rated by 24/7 Sports as a 4-star recruit, the number 1 player in New Jersey, number 2 point guard in the country, ranked 16th nationally. Overall, from 24/7 Sports, they have him as a 4-star recruit. Nationally, taking into account Rivals ratings, taking into account more scouting websites' rating, he is a composite 5-star. So he is nationally ranked as the 12th player. If you're not just looking at 24/7's rankings and you are looking at overall, he is a 5-star. So, this is a extremely talented prospect that we will be bringing in. Not only does Rivals have Duke as the prediction, 24/7 Sports also has the Duke Blue Devils as the prediction to land Deron Rippy Jr. someone in the comment section, I saw your comment about maybe like a week or a week and a half ago saying that you heard it first that Deron Rippy Jr. was going to the Duke Blue Devils because his dad actually commented something on Instagram. I want to believe you, and I wish I could put that up on my screen, and I appreciate you taking the time to comment, but unfortunately I can't set the precedent of putting comments up like that because that's going to encourage people to just, I know you didn't make that up, but that encourages people to make stuff up and put it, and then I can't be putting up false stuff on the screen. Not that your comment was false. It clearly looks like you are absolutely correct. Farther back than the national media was correct, but that's why I haven't put your comment on the screen in case you are wondering. But we also have the prediction date already figured out for Deron Rippy Jr., announced by Adam Zagoria on X. 5-star Blair Academy men's basketball and New Heights New York City guard Deron Rippy Jr. will announce at 4 p.m. on Tuesday, the 30th of December on CBS Sports HQ. So we know exactly when Deron Rippy Jr. will be announcing this commitment decision, which is going to be absolutely massive. I'm going to be tuned in, and I'm sure a ton of people watching this video will be tuned in as well. Another fun little wrinkle here is also Deron Rippy Jr. will be at the Duke men's basketball game tonight at MSG. Duke is among his final 5. He'll announce on 12:30. We also know tonight Duke is taking on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. We are a 8.5-point favorite against JT Toppin's squad. Texas Tech, highly ranked team. They already have 2 losses, but they are a fantastic program, a really, really strong team. They made it far in March Madness last season, and we know that they are absolutely nothing to turn up our noses at. Even if we are come in as the higher ranked team, we come in as a minus 425 favorite, which means you have to bet $425 on Duke to win $100. That pretty much means they got the odds makers over in Vegas have a very good idea that the Duke Blue Devils will be walking away victorious from MSG tonight, or as we like to call it, Cameron Indoor North. It's awesome to see that Deron Rippy Jr. is going to be having was hopefully a positive experience with the Duke Blue Devils tonight, seeing them hopefully continue this undefeated season against the Texas Tech Red Raiders and just confirm that he wants to come to Duke. It's different when you see it in person. You can talk to Jon Scheyer. He's very, very, very credible, but it's different when you see the coach based on what he says off the court and then what he's actually doing on the court, how he handles his players, how he handles situations. It's a better in-person experience for Deron Rippy Jr. And Duke not only needs to win the game, but for the future needs to put a great face on the program tonight, which they always do. I have no doubts that they won't be doing that, but it's especially important tonight in another game at Madison Square Garden. These are a whole lot of fun. Tickets, very, very realistic. Only about $50 for the nosebleeds, which me, as a New York native, MSG, those are cheap MSG tickets, no matter who is playing there, whether it's the Johnnies, whether it's Duke, whether it's the New York Knicks. That's a great price, and it's something that I'm very excited to be seeing tonight. But we're going to see where Deron Rippy Jr. ends up landing. It certainly looks like looking really, really good for us. It looks like he's going to be becoming a Duke Blue Devil in about 14 days from now. Or let's do the math properly here. In 10 days from now. And I can't wait to see how it all goes down. That's what I got for this video. If you stuck around all the way through, I appreciate you taking the time to watch it all the way through. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. And let's go Duke.